appreciate the kind of casual vibe here.
This
This is nice.
yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
100%.
Do you want to like call the meeting to order, or is it?
Let's do an introduction.
Yeah, sure. Hello, welcome to the EcoReps meeting at University of Louisville for November 2025.
October. We're still in October.
So you got one more day.
For October 2025. Wow, you can see, I know what's going on. My name is Brian Barnes. Usually I have a sense of this, but at any rate, I'm the EcoReps director, and we have these meetings every month to inform people about sustainability and give them options for sustainable action. And we are very fortunate this month to have Laura Veldman from Smith Creek as our speaker today. We will get commercial compost information in addition to many other, I'm sure, very interesting pieces of knowledge about, is it just waste management in general, or is it more specific than that?
No, I'm going to kind of talk about all of our material streams. So
Ooh,
yeah.
very cool. Very cool.
Trying to do a big overview to kind of give
All right.
aspects.
Well, and Smith Creek is involved with the waste streams here at the university. And so,
talk a good bit.
yeah, so we're going to learn a lot about what goes on here. So without further ado, Laura Veldman.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That was a very kind of introduction. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and just start off. So the presentation is kind of just, again, give everybody a little bit of visual. It's nice to talk about what we do, but really visual impact helps show the size and scale to which we work. So Smith Creek is a wood and organics recycler in our kind of simple tagline. We are celebrating 50 years, which is pretty exciting as well, starting in 1975. And the business actually began just as a bit of a brainchild of our neighbor company, Cutter Woodworking. An employee who worked there, recognizing all of this wood shavings from their woodwork. They do a lot of like cabinetry and trim and kind of specialty woodwork. And that results in a lot of wood shavings. And we are located in Borden, Indiana. So southern Indiana near Huber's Farm, which has a lot of horse and cattle farms nearby. So again, use the material you've got, right? He just thought the reality was, we've got a lot of farms nearby. I'm going to take these wood shavings and deliver them to farms. And that's how the business began. Proud to share that we have grown to over 150 employees and 5 locations within that 50 years. Again, as I indicated, Borden is our primary facility, but then we also have a location in Buckskin, Indiana, which is near Evansville. And then we have 3 drop yards in the Louisville area. So we're proud to serve this region. We kind of go to about a 20-mile radius, I'd say, but we can go to 01 if there is a need, right? But ultimately what we do is we process a very wide variety of wood wastes and then food waste as well to make either landscape products, animal bedding, or wood fuels. Thank you.
Can you describe a drop yard? What does that mean?
Yeah, yes,
Or are
gladly.
you going to do that later?
No, let's do it right now.
Okay.
I love it. Good questions. Bring them on as they come. So a drop yard is more where we receive material and do very minimal processing. So we do grind some wood waste at our 2 locations in Louisville at Aiken Road, which is in Middletown, and then Melton Avenue, which is by the airport and UPS Global. So those, we receive that material here. We do very minimal, again, just kind of an initial grind, really just to help consolidate the material and be able to transport it more efficiently. Which leads nicely into my transportation slide. And then we also have a location in LaGrange, which is what I kind of put under the umbrella of the Louisville area, but it is technically in LaGrange, in the city of LaGrange. But again, it's more of just receiving, not so much full product cycle.
And not food waste.
And not food waste. Great question. Yes, no food waste at all is received in Louisville. All food waste that we receive goes to Borden, Indiana.
And my understanding is that comes in a compactor, but compactors probably don't work for wood waste.
That's correct. And I will talk more about how we receive that food waste, especially pertaining to UofL's material on down the presentation. Yeah, but no food waste is being received here, mainly because we hold our composting certification in the state of Indiana. Although the compost foreman, he is Kentucky certified as well. because we do have such an overlap being just across the river, right? We're such neighboring communities. We do hold that certification, but for the actual facility permits, we just hold that in Indiana and not in the state of Kentucky.
And then when you say you're receiving in Louisville at these 3 drop yards.
Yeah.
Are people paying to get rid of this wood waste, or is it just come drop and we'll take it?
Nope, it's pay.
They're paying to get.
Yeah, because we have a lot of work still to do with the material before it's ready to be a new product. So yes, there is a cost, but we pride ourselves on being less than landfill. So it's by far not only the more sustainable and responsible process, but it certainly is also economically the better choice as well. So
And the landfill can be stunningly expensive.
yes,
Yeah.
it can. And very difficult to get in and out of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I'm going to lead into our transportation. I will say we proudly receive a lot of feedback that trucks, when I can get a customer who was sending material to landfill and then divert to come to us, like, oh my gosh, it's so much quicker and easier and cleaner, right? We're not a landfill. Who wants to drive in a landfill?
Right.
So we just, of our partner transportation companies, it's nicer to come to Smith Creek. And we're not far from the waste management landfill either. So we've in some cases can even make the transportation cost be neutral because you're not even going much further.
Can you guys take like an individual Christmas tree, or is it just, I mean, can somebody
Yes.
pay to bring individual
Yes.
stuff? Okay.
Yes, and you guys know exactly who else is online, but I feel safe to say this amongst this audience. I'm campaigning to actually open our doors for free Christmas tree drop off for this year. But that is definitely available at the Waste Reduction Center for all Louisville Metro residents. So you do have a free Christmas tree drop off, and most curbside pickups will also take Christmas trees this time of year. So I'm not sure how exactly necessary it is for us to have those 3 more locations, but also what's the harm in just that seasonality of, yes, please. More people have tree waste than usual at that time of year. So we want to try to recover that as much as possible. But for the most part, we are not a residential drop-off site.
Okay.
We are a commercial drop-off site. So we do need businesses. And that's even just as simple as Laura's landscape business who did tree work and then still brings that into Smith Creek. But we're not really just simply for truck traffic. We're not really set up for everybody coming in their small vehicles and navigating our property on a regular basis. Go ahead.
I'm really curious about the wood waste sourcing still, so.
Yeah, I'm going to get way more into it though. We're just starting.
Can you give me just a quick feel though on what percentage of the wood waste you're processing is from an industry versus like arborists, right? Like it's wood that's being used in a mill or something like that.
Yeah. For our entire material sourcing, I would say we're more commercial, less arborist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
But that's going to be good. But that's, I work in numbers of weight.
Yeah.
And so like sawmills just generate a lot more. But then if you look at like one tree service company bringing in a lot of logs, yes, that is going to be heavy for that particular load, but not every load is going to have the large scale trees.
So like
Those aren't coming down as often.
your 3 yards in Louisville, am I going
Yeah.
to see mostly arborist
Yes.
stuff there or mostly?
For Louisville, yes, absolutely.
Oh.
For Borden, more industry.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I've got more pictures and videos to show of that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I love the conversation aspect. Please continue. But I will boast to say, we not only receive material, but we do have a great transportation and maintenance fleet, and we can provide transportation for our customers. So we have open top dumpsters, tankers, and then also a wide variety of trailers. I won't go through the list there, but again, more so specific to, again, our commercial-based customers that are generating wood in their process. So like a cutter, woodworking, and sawmill, they're going to have so much sawdust that they actually connect our trailers to a vacuum system and blow that material directly into our trailers. So nobody's having to even touch and manage that material until it just, our driver comes and takes it away. So we really work and pride ourselves on transportation solutions, but we are not a transportation company. It's just a means to get the material efficiently. And then with all of that equipment, we got to take care of it. So that's why I give our maintenance team a little shout out there too. So as we're talking material sources, this is kind of the primary list of the wood waste. And then also kind of the bottom section there is the food waste. So we are working, again, with a wide variety of industry, and that's going to be, again, a variety of materials. But as I've got it categorized here, it's either what we'll call kind of green wood waste. So that's, again, from the arborist, that's the tree, true like raw goods. But then we've also got a lot of kind of already processed wood waste from the flooring companies, the pallet recyclers, cooperage plants, a lot of bourbon staves, excuse me, if I mispronounced that term. So again, it's a mix of the variety of wood waste that we receive. But specifically for the Louisville yards, it is more so the tree debris and yard waste material that we're receiving at those locations. For the food waste, we're working primarily directly with food manufacturers. So a company making potato chips, we will get all of the unused potatoes that, whatever reason, the size spec issue, whatever that was, they're not going to use that to make their actual chip, but then they work directly with us to get that material, get out of landfill and recovered. We do work with a lot of different distillers, and that even includes beer industry, not just bourbon and liquor. And then the partnership that we'll really highlight with our relationship with the University of Louisville is Smurfit Westrock. And so they provide the cart service that work more so with what, in our eyes, as Smith Creek, is a small scale food waste generator, but in reality, they still generate a lot. That's the university, right? You all can only imagine how much food waste is coming off of this campus. And it's even diverted into 2 different streams, which is great as well. But there's still a whole lot just in this area. However, again, kind of going back to our previous slide, nobody wants that red box sitting on campus collected full of food waste. So our partnership with Westrock, Smurfit Westrock, is really important to be able to have smaller scale carts, which we'll get into. I've got a picture coming up here in just a moment. But as we've also spoken about, residential yard waste. So again, this is primarily what we were receiving at our yards here in Louisville, is from not only Louisville Metro service areas, but also the private waste haulers. So hopefully most of you, well, I'll even actually honor the audience that I'm talking to. Hopefully most of you are actually doing backyard compost. But population-wise, within our urban area, most people are not doing at-home collection of their own tree and yard waste, and then even food waste debris. So curbside yard waste service is a really great benefit that we do have within our area, and all of that material is going to come to Smith Creek, and then again we're able to put it through our compost process and make it get into more viable material, which leads into our product lines. So to get a little bit more specific in that landscape category, that's going to include a variety of topsoils, potting soils, and then our organic compost and mulches. We also do custom soil blends as well. So that's not to just say what is on our website is the only thing we can make. I'm proud to say Smith Creek is a yes style company, right? So bring us an idea and we will do our best to explore it. Then our animal bedding division is going to be, again, more in the pine shavings, sawdust, and then a product that we did create, which is tins. And it's a great animal bedding product that's really great for the poultry division, the poultry industry. It's really great and absorbent for litter, but then also it's really very easily spread. And as you can only imagine, in these very large poultry houses, quick speed, both clean up and refresh to build out the barn again with new chickens is really important. So again, that's a nice example of Smith Creek kind of working with industry to find the right product.
Quick question though.
Of course.
What makes it an organic compost?
Oh, the process to which, so we have an OMRI pile and then a not OMRI certified pile.
Okay.
So it's the material itself as it goes through its testing, it meets those certain qualifications. So not everything we receive gets to go in that OMRI pile because of where the material is coming from, because of the ingredients inside of it, just honestly because of how we maybe need to be feeding each respective pile too. Again, I give a lot of credit to our operations team. I'm happy to be here as more of the face, but they are the ones who are really doing the decision making on all of that. Yeah,
Okay.
of course. And then our wood fuel pellets product line is really in the spirit of maximizing recovery of all materials. So we found that we as a company have a whole lot of dust kind of left over in our grinding process. And instead of having that be a lost byproduct that we just need to dispose of, over the years, we developed a process, well, I shouldn't say develop the process. We bought the machines, the pelletizers, right? So we capture that dust to then be able to actually put it in and make pellets to then be wood burning fuels. So maximizing the recovery of all fiber is really the spirit of that third division.
Do you have any idea how that works? Is there a binder or?
I'm going to confess, I joined Smith Creek at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot, but I'm not all in the weeds yet. Sorry, Justin. I'll be truthful to say, just I don't know. But, and again, I shouldn't say that, again, to correct myself, we didn't develop it. We just recognized we still have this waste stream. What can we do with it? And got the right machines in order to make another product. So with that, we'll use our visual here of the carts. This is what I really wanted to really highlight in the relationship with the university and Smurfit West Rock and Smith Creek. So kind of begin to answer the questions of the food waste being collected across campus. So this is primarily UofL dining services. So more so the back of the house food waste that is either pre or post consumer. So proud to say that we, Smith Creek, the actual composter who's doing the work with that food waste, we can take all types of food waste. So that includes, or that I should say, that expands beyond traditional fruit and veg. We can take meat and dairy and bones, shellfish, eggshells, some of the items that typically can't go in your backyard collection system. Because we work at such a large scale, we are able to receive that material, which again, on this size level of food generating, it's really helpful for staff to just know it's food, it can go in the brown cart, instead of what type of food is it and where can it go. As I really appreciate Brian and his program with the Local Compost Co-op and the food that they recover on campus, it's great that there's that level of separation because again, it keeps it even more local. There's something to be said about all of the hands that have to touch this food waste before it gets to us. So I'm always a proponent and support of as local as possible, use it as close as possible, right? But he could, the co-op can't take it all. So glad that we're here and be able to be of service, especially to the dining services, I don't know, division or department, whatever the terminology would be there. That being said, as I mentioned previously, you're not going to want a Smith Creek dumpster on site for a very large collection of food waste. So these two carts, the bottom cart is a 65-gallon, the top cart is a 21-gallon cart. These are situated throughout all of the university food or dining locations. Food waste is collected directly into those carts, and then Smurfit West Rock has trucks that actually come around campus and do a cart exchange service, which is really great for the restaurants because they don't have any responsibility of cleaning these carts. All good. The food waste goes directly in, down on the designated service day. The full cart gets removed and exchanged with a clean, sanitized cart. So it makes it really easy for the restaurants to use this program. Then that material comes back to Smurfit West Rock. They do a quality control check, ideally pulling out any contamination that doesn't belong. And even better, communicating that to the food waste generator to try to prevent it from continuing to happen. That communication there is a real important part for all of our success. Because as you'll see in my next slide, you can see the scale to which we're working at. And any straws that we received are staying in the pile. I can't say anything other than the truth. And that is the reality. If it gets to us, it's staying pretty much. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm working with, as you know, Kentucky Composting Council.
Yeah.
And we're trying to talk about flatware and cups and plates.
Yes.
And so I wanted to ask you on behalf of that group, what does that look like in your process? Like I know what it looks like in my process.
Sure.
It takes forever.
Yep.
I mean, literally. I mean, I'm not gonna. This year, it will still be in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so I was wondering, what does it look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to flip to the next slide here and show, just to again kind of give you a size to scale here. That's obviously a very large loader, and that again put it in perspective to the piles that we're working with. And I've got some more pictures that kind of show our size and scope. So fortunately, we do have the volume to help make those products break down, but they're not all created equal. And so we do not allow any of our customers, or in turn, any different Westrock customers, use any product that we have not already tested.
Okay.
And so we are very strict about that, because even if it says it's a certified compostable product, it can't guarantee that it'll break down.
Right.
And furthermore, what I'm going to kind of call plastic base, but I know it's not a plastic technically, but they look like a plastic for the cutlery. They're great for durability, for use, but they are very challenging to break down. The fiber-based stuff, it's gone in a week for us.
Sure.
But the more corn-based plastic-like ones
Yeah.
can be more challenging. We have found that the company World-Centric or Eco Products, they kind of use both names, most all of their products work. We've tested their entire line, which is great. But it's hard to say yes to everything until we've actually tested it. So things do break down, but we really do want to keep it within like about 20 days. It's got to be visibly, significantly broken down for us to give that a yes. Yeah, go ahead.
For folks who want to purchase products that do break down like that, do you have a list on your website of like, hey, we've tested these products, here's what actually breaks down?
Yeah, no, because in all truth, we prefer them not. If I'm being fully honest, we want the means to support these products being used, but we're not overly promoting them to be used. We don't want to flood ourselves with it. Reusable stuff is always better. There's just no denying it. So that's more of me having the direct conversation with the customer to talk about what works, what products we want to guide them to, but we're not overly encouraging, hey, we can take it, because again, as you can see the size and scope, if it's already getting to us, it's going to stay with us. And so we really want to be sure that we kind of can keep that relatively manageable quantity as it stands right now.
Do you guys pull those out and like whatever is coming out of the pile, there's a mechanical sifting part, right? I mean, is that where they get caught before they go into a bag of compost?
Yes, so we have a triple screener, which is my next picture here coming up. So I'll hit through this real quick, as we kind of already talked about delivery, but what I do want to highlight here is we have built what we kind of call either the pool or the pit, but you can see in that left-hand picture there, it's just ultimately a concrete landing pad that we've built some blockades around so we can receive that material and ultimately start to do either a level of mixing or then mixing into the pile at our own speed and pace. What we don't want is a Republic truck coming in and unloading directly into our pile, because then we're left dealing with exactly as it was received. And so the pit is, again, just truly a receiving pool for us to then kind of manage the mix more intentionally. From there, the processing and mixing process, ultimately, we're working this multiple times every day, right? But we ultimately use our material we're receiving in the pool, mix that into our stockpiles of compost in rotation, and mix and turn that material to integrate the new material in with the aged material, again, multiple times throughout the day. Our next picture really gives you a nice visual of the left-hand side there of the various piles, ages and stages that we're working with. Our composting area is not indicated here on my size. Sorry. I'll have that acreage for you in just a moment, give you the scale. But jumping into the screening process, just to answer that question. So we do this machine here, it's a Composting, and it is a triple screening piece of equipment. So what ultimately that does is it allows the larger material to kind of go up and over and go essentially back into our stockpiles. The smaller material that has gotten we do grind it first, but goes through that screener, meets the right size, that's going to actually go into our finished compost process. Then what little bit, that third, didn't make it through is ultimately that portion of waste. What is not viable. Give me a moment while I find my mouse here on this. There we go. And here is that small pile that is essentially the outthrows from the screener. And going to test everybody's eyes here, but you can kind of see small little specks of other than brown, right? And that is the small bits and pieces from those cutlery items or cups and things that didn't fully break down entirely. They're still very small, but we pride ourselves on quality. In fact, our tagline is quality worth spreading. So we don't want you opening your bag of any type of soil or compost and have little flecks of plastic. And it's plastic, let's be honest, that's the worst material. In our grinders, we have magnets embedded in them, tube magnets, in fact. So it passes through magnets. So metal, although we don't want it, it comes out. We can divert that material. Fiber will break down just fine in our process. It's plastic, that's the culprit. And sadly, so much is in plastic and they're made of plastic. So it is a constant work and communication. And again, the customers, that's part of my role, is preventing the contamination from even getting to us. Because again, you're looking at the size that we're working with here, it's beyond a needle in a haystack scale, right? So again, somebody's fork, somebody's straw is lost by the time it gets to us.
Or
So
stickers on produce.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And those don't go away. They just literally stick to something and hang on for the ride. So yes, great attention to that. I'm realizing here, I didn't also make my note here that our stockpiles typically cure for about 6 to 9 months and get up to the ideal temperature of between 145 and 165 degrees. And that's really to maintain that molecular breakdown in a constant state. So again, the meat, the bones, again, the dairy, the things that we typically don't see in a backyard setting, we can handle because our temperatures can maintain that height and be able to continue to break down consistently. And even though obviously we're affected by weather still too, because of our size piles, the middle of that's real nice and hot all year round. So it's nice on that. Let me just double check myself on my notes here. I feel like I kind of jumped back and forth there. Yes, and we've already talked about the screener and the 3 different levels. Okay, great. 5 acres. There we go. I just had to get my numbers back in front of me here. So our compost area is 5 acres of land. And again, I'm going to kind of get my screen here. So in the picture that I previously showed that kind of showed the various different ages, that's these kind of initial front piles here. This is what we call Compost Mountain. This is one of our larger scale piles. And Brian, to your question earlier, this is where we've got our Omni certified product. And then over here, well far away, so there's no cross contamination, is our non-OMRI certified compost. So we move the equipment around as needed across this area of the land, but ultimately we have our piles that are really able to kind of serve throughout our process.
So,
and I'll also highlight, sorry.
I was wondering about treated wood.
Yeah.
Is that, where's that separation?
That is going to happen in another spot on our property. So any treated wood is actually going to go more in our pallet recycling category. So that's going to be at a different part of the whole land. And then we will use some of that product only as needed to go into the non-OMRI certified compost pile.
Oh.
So we don't typically move it to the back if we don't have to. That kind of goes more into a different division.
Like used for
Animal bedding.
Oh,
yep.
It's okay for animals.
Only for, again, a certain category of animal bedding. It's
Okay.
why we have a very diverse product line, because we really do maintain, here's what some customers need. It's not safe for all animals. It's not the right fit, but for some it is okay. And that's our sales division, which again, I don't want to overly misspeak. I just know that they are very well separated by property and again, by product line for final destination. What I do want to highlight here is what serves us well. And again, why we only bring food waste to Indiana is look at where we're located. We have no neighbors. This is all Smith Creek land that surrounds us. They built a land buffer around their compost area. And I say built, bought. That's really the reality of it. So everything that you see here is Smith Creek, and we have a wonderful buffer. This was a question in the previous presentation as well. There is also no water streams in our area. It's a very nice flat piece of property. We do have some water runoff ponds here at the back here. But ultimately, it's a really flat, what is here stays here kind of thing.
So
Yes.
do you have like certain plans for bioremediation for different runoff that you know about?
Not that I personally know about, I'm sorry. I would think so. I would think there's a lot of intention behind the management
Yeah,
of this
those
land.
ponds.
Yeah.
It needs-
Yeah.
But in 1,000 years, archaeologists are gonna be studying, why is this land so fertile?
That's true, right? Yeah. It is very well fed, that's for sure. All right. And so again, to speak of our specific organic compost product, again, we do have one product line that is OMRI approved, and we also maintain our certification with the U.S. Composting Council. And as spoken earlier, our foreman is both certified in Indiana and Kentucky as well. And that is a nice little visual of the final product. And then just to hit the quick highlights, there are many more in this list here of the great benefits of composting, but it's just important to recognize it's a really important part of just material management. We as humans on this planet have and will always continue to generate waste, but what we do and how we manage that material is the really important piece to the puzzle. And diverting it from landfill, that it is both wood and food waste being such a viable product, is really important. When that material does go to landfill, it creates a greater increase of methane, which is that greenhouse gas that we know is terrible for us. So it's even not only bad for the space of landfill, but it's also just a really big impact on the increase of methane gas that gets produced. So it's a double-edged sword that we really want to avoid. And then the great benefits, right? We can improve our soil health, reduce the need for chemical fertilizers. Again, also the economics of it. We can aim to reduce your cost in what you're spending on getting rid of your waste, right? So there's just so many great benefits, and we're really proud to be a part of that solution for our community. I'm going to highlight this. I know it's a 2018 graph here, but sadly, the numbers haven't changed dramatically since. Just to really point out, in a traditional solid waste stream, we've got food, I've lost my mouse again. Okay, yeah. Food, yard trimmings, and wood all being a pretty large portion of the mix here, right? And so all of that material is something that Smith Creek can consume and make into new product. So it's just a really great point that I'd like to make, is that this is a really important shift for not only us as individuals, but for our community, for businesses to be recognizing there is a significant portion of our national waste stream that can and should be reused. And it's just a matter of, again, embracing that change of behavior, and then also having more companies like Smith Creek. We can't do it all. We don't aim to do it all, right? So it does take that significant shift to help have more businesses build and grow in this industry too.
Well, and even the paperboard portion,
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
more everything going digital. There's less clean paper, and it's almost all soil paper these days. So you might as
That's a
well.
very good point. Absolutely. And it's more food packaging direction, right? And so it's great to have it just be a clean fiber. Like it doesn't have to be overly complex of a fiber. Just move to fiber-based packaging, and it can go in the compost stream.
Yeah.
So again, part of the reason why we're not overly getting too in the weeds on the certified compostable products, it's like, we'll take a paper boat. That's fine, right? So with that, I'll also take a moment to really speak about pallet recycling. So this is another important piece that Smith Creek really works hard to, I'm going to say me, specifically working hard to really increase the awareness of this portion of our business, because pallets are estimated to be over 90% of the total wood packaging industry, right? The world runs on pallets. Most things in industry are received on pallets, and nobody likes or wants plastic pallets. That has been very well established in the commercial sector because they break, and nobody wants them for end use. Now, there are great partners of ours, pallet recyclers that actually rebuild, repair, and recirculate pallets. And that is absolutely great. And we want that to continue and grow as much as possible because pallets are designed to be reused, right? So we want that to happen. But the reality is they do meet an end of life cycle. And sadly, again, not all pallets are created equal. Reality of most all packaging, right? Some are significantly smaller. They're only made for this specific spec, or they're extremely large because it was made for this one specific machine that got to this one company. Now they're left with all of this wood waste. So we do also work and receive with wood waste. And that's primarily more of where our treated wood is going to go. Now, we don't work with any painted wood. That is very important to speak to that piece of it. And so, again, in the spirit of managing our sourced material, we do really have a firm line on no painted product. But treated wood, especially if aged treated wood, it's fine. That chemical stuff, like I've dealt with a lot of fencing out in our beautiful bluegrass farm country, right? Fencing that probably was a good treated wood 30 years ago when the fence was installed. At this point in time, that's nominal and it'll be fine in our process. So again, it's really having these one-on-one direct conversations with our sources and knowing the life and process of what that material has been. But again, great opportunity here. I'm going to point out some of the pictures here. You can see the wide variety. We also work with crates. So beyond just pallets themselves, again, wood packaging is a good method for commercial businesses. But most often they don't need it long term. And so that's where we can come in. We can take it all size, shapes, conditions, whatnot. And again, even with those repairing pallet companies, they can't take and use it all. Sometimes, again, things come in so far in disrepair. And so even if it got to them first, it'll make its way down the line to us in our partnerships with those companies.
What are some of the chemicals that are on the treated one? Is like formaldehyde and what are some, you know?
I don't, not as a list. I will certainly say the one product that I have to stay away from with a 50-foot pole is creosote that is on like utility poles and railroad ties. We don't go anywhere near those product lines at all.
Who does? What happens to all that stuff?
It actually goes as special waste to landfill.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It does have to have that that special waste categorization, and the landfill has to manage it in its specific way.
Are those, where are they coming out? Like who's known for manufacturing pallets? Canada?
Ooh, known for manufacturing them?
Because they do like wood pulp and stuff.
Yeah,
I would say Canada.
okay. Anywhere. I will say overseas, a lot of the Asian countries tend to do smaller pallets that are more of, and I don't think that it's in my, I don't think I can see one well enough in this picture here, but it's what we simply, we call them block pallets, because instead of actually having a true chunk of wood, it's more of the compressed wood particle board as the corners that put the two slats together. And nobody wants those. They break super quick, and those tend to come from overseas. So any company that's receiving product on those style pallets, we typically end up working with, because again, that's still a fiber. We can handle those boards, but they're not repairable. No pallet company wants to work with those block pallets. Yeah. So still pictures are nice. I can talk about all the different things, but we had the great opportunity of having a video made for us just recently. It's a little bit of a commercial part, so I'll go ahead and call that piece out, but it's just so nice to get to see our facilities in action that I thought it'd be good to get a share here with everybody. But Colorbonics is the company that produces, and it's right here, this is that machine. This is our mulch coloring equipment. And so we scoop our natural mulch into this machine, and then these have their respective colors. I'm going to imagine this is brown. I'm pretty sure that we were dyeing brown here today, and it's going to come down from here. But Colorbonics asked us if they could come and do a video for us. So it's a little bit of a plug for Colorbonics. So I'm just going to call that out. It's not full commercial vibe, but just saying what it is here.
Is that organic coloring or?
Yeah.
It is a biodegradable dye. Yeah. So we have to be very mindful. Like we couldn't do any type of dyeing this past week while we were in 4 days of rain, right? So we have to be very mindful of the weather when we do color. And then when that product's going to sit before it gets bagged. Now it does, after enough time, it does dry. The Colorbonic's actual equipment is really great because it has a tumbler inside. So it really gets a good full coating. So as long as we have the next day being dry, the ink or dye settles in within 24 hours. And then it's fine to sit outside. But quick tip, if you do buy colored mulch, do not put it down in your yard with rain in the forecast for 48 hours, especially if it's bagged mulch, because there is still a level of moisture that stays in that bag. And so once you actually get it out and spread it, you really want to have 48 hours to dry in order to maximize your color longevity.
I'm sorry, I missed the conversation about this. What are the dyes made out of?
It's a biodegradable ink dye.
Just a little more.
Yeah, I don't know the ingredient specifics, but so Brian, with that, the video that we're about to watch was created by Colorbonic's, which is the company that we bought the equipment from, which is right here. This is our colorant machine. And they came and asked if they could do a video for us. And now I'm just using that video as a great resource to show off our space.
Absolutely.
But I want to give it a preface to say, I'm sorry, I'm slightly showing I wouldn't call it a commercial, but we'll see. Oh, I guess we don't have speaker in here,
It's
do
pretty
we?
slick.
We don't have any volume. That's okay. This is Smith Creek. I will point out where we're in Indiana versus in Louisville, but this is all in Indiana so far. And I'm sorry you're not getting to hear the logo, the information, but ultimately it's just speaking of, again, our services and our products, kind of a truncated version of the presentation I've just given, but nice to get to see it. This is in Louisville, so this is our Middletown location. So as you were talking about, certainly there it is by far more tree debris there. And we're trying to save the planet. I think that's kind of my message.
That's you.
Yeah.
Is any of that arbor stuff from the city directly? Or?
Yes. Yeah. So Louisville Metro sends all of their, not only just the curbside yard waste, but of the actual Louisville Metro agencies, they do deliver their material as well. So like Parks and Recreation,
Right.
their tree trimming does come to us.
Or like during storms when they're clearing roads.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
What other
Yeah. We work with a lot of FEMA projects, right? So when there are big storms, we'll put our own dumpsters out if the city doesn't have enough dumpsters to take care for themselves.
What other sanitation agencies do y'all work with?
Sanitation, like
Rumpke,
oh yes, yeah, all the private haulers.
Hometown,
I don't think they have any yard waste collection.
they do at my house.
They're good. I'd love to talk with them.
Yes.
I don't think that we're receiving anything.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
So yeah, just again, a nice visual there. I'm sorry you couldn't hear it, but that's not
Where are they based?
Colorbonic's. Good question. Don't know that one.
So where are your products all for industrial or like, do you send them to private sellers?
Yes, thank you. Great question. Here, I'm gonna just let us sit on this so now you don't have to watch a video that you can't hear. Just a nice image of our property line. But we are a wholesaler. So you're not gonna see a Smith Creek bag in a store currently. Not to say that might not evolve over time, but our products are primarily what you will buy in this marketplace.
Mhm.
So that's either kind of in twofold. So either direct with a nursery, whether you're buying a big scoop for your, like if you've got a pickup truck and you come to get a scoop, or you get a delivery through a nursery, that's most likely our product. If it's a mulch or a soil in this area, it's most likely us. But then also we sell to the big box stores.
Mhm.
So the Scott's brand that or Kellogg's, those are primarily sold in Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. That product is also coming from us and actually bagged by us, because those large companies will work with industries like us in their respective region, right? There's not one centrally located mulch manufacturer for Lowe's that's going to supply all of Lowe's. They have to work with a set of partners. We're proud to be one of those, right? And so in the compost world, where this also really serves is, I use the analogy as most people are familiar with, it's really encouraged to eat local honey to help with allergies, because the pollinators help create that local honey that then gives you like almost that little antidote. The same goes for the soil and our soils and mulches. So you want the trees from this area to be what your mulches are made into. So then they go back to the earth and serve and kind of help heal our earth. Instead of, if everything, let's say, was coming from California, it wouldn't serve Kentucky as well. And so that's why those big box stores work with companies like us. And for them, also, again, proud to say that Smith Creek did put in a bagging line many years ago, because it's like, well, what, we don't want to just sell it in bulk. We'd like to be able to sell it in bags, and we'll do that full work for you and deliver to your stores. So Scott's doesn't really do anything other than send us the bags to put our product in under their name, because we're not interested in being in the retail space. Yeah, that's as we stand now. So you can buy essentially your compost from the University of Louisville back to serve your garden. Just changes names a lot, right? In the chain here, we've got, and not to say necessarily ownership of the material, but right, it's UofL Dining, then it's Smurfit West Rock, then it's Smith Creek, then it's Scott's, right? So as a customer,
Same potato or whatever.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So-
are there any other similar operations in our region to Smith Creek?
Similar, yes, not necessarily the same size.
Oh, okay.
Now there is another company that does a lot of bagging also, again, for the big box stores. They are Sims, and I'm not exactly sure where they're located. I think
Okay.
they're more down in Tennessee. So yes, and there's some great operations in St. Louis. So it's not to say that like we're the only
Yeah.
one in the region. It just depends on like how big you're calling the region. But for us in Kentuckiana, we are the only ones of this size. And I'll even say to that size, just to share, again, this is just to give the kind of perspective. Where's my mouse again?
What is the,
These-
when they drop off like a big thing of mulch, if you call the city, is it city you call and they drop off?
Yeah, it's like the county extension office. You just
Yeah.
fill up your trunk and then they'll fill up your bins.
Or they dumped it in my yard before, a humongous pile.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Who's, two companies will do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yes.
know the
Yeah,
company
chip.
you-
Well,
Yeah.
it's a chip drop, and those are great. Absolutely, they serve both you and the tree company, because otherwise that tree company is bringing those chips to us and having to pay to dispose of
They
them,
were not quite chips.
because it's the first. So it depends on the company you're working with and the state of their grinder,
Yeah,
right? So equipment. We work this equipment hard. Again, part of the reason why we built our own maintenance team is because we, especially Borden, we can't be down waiting 3 days or 3 weeks for a vendor to come fix our grinder.
yeah.
We'd be buried in material. So, yes, the maintenance of the equipment is super important, which is what results in the quality of what you're getting. But then again, I'll also say it's helpful for those companies to have somebody get it, like, yeah, take it for free, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're paying to dispose of it with us.
Yeah, it
But
was a lot of work, but.
They grind it
It was
one,
a lot of work.
we're gonna grind wood at least 2 to 3 times,
Okay, yeah,
sometimes more if it's rough.
yeah, I know it came right through the tree thing and into my yard.
Nice. And then I'll put on the screen here my contact information if you have any further questions or anything. I'm realizing I don't have a time piece to keep in mind here, but yeah, anybody have any other questions?
Well,
Okay.
Laura,
Thank you all for having so many.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for putting in mind. Mary.
I think ours sorted. I've been through it. I can't remember where it is.
It's yes, we're neighbors to Hubers. And neighbors in like country terms, right? Like we can't really see each other, but it's the best point of reference that
Where's
most people
animal
use.
beddings? Are they, do they go through that same product thing to pet
No.
stores and stuff?
No, that is most direct. It's sold more often direct to the actual farmers.
Okay.
We do work with what's called some integrators,
Mm-hmm.
and they're ultimately just kind of a manager that may manage
Mhm,
30 different farms.
mhm.
But those different farms might
So
be
it's
under
mostly,
their businesses.
it's mostly agriculture.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you all again very much.
Oh, yeah.